Hello, wonderful, beautiful people. How are you? Today I'm talking about a message for mankind from the emissaries. How about that? A message for mankind. And I'll share a couple of stories and another story I want to share with you as well about ego. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So there's Sufis walking along underneath some coconut trees, and there's a monkey up a tree, a naughty monkey, yeah. And the monkey grabs a coconut and he throws it at the Sufi's head, and it bounces off his head. Boing! Very painful. And the Sufi bends over, picks up the coconut, and he drinks the milk from the coconut. And then he opens the coconut and he eats all of the flesh and has it for lunch. And then with the bit that's left, he makes a helmet. As the expression goes, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Okay, I think we've had a few lemons thrown at us lately, haven't we? And I suppose the idea of that story is everything that comes to you, even criticisms, are there. If you take them in the right way, you can use them to build and make yourself better. Yeah, make yourself stronger. When stuff happens to you, as long as you become the victor in this and not the victim, then you can always take something good from it, even if it's just a learning experience. Yeah? So, listen, I want to start by telling you, right, so at the moment, I'm doing I'm having a lot of conversations with the emissaries about the forthcoming course that I'm going to do, about working with the ego, because we've got to get the ego on board. We've got to upgrade. It's an ego upgrade. That's what they're talking about. So I'm kind of working through that, and I'm very sensitive to hearing ego, like the old ego. This is the dark age ego, yeah. And the little system that I use is this. When you listen to somebody talk, okay, take a snapshot. The idea is that you have to listen to how many times they refer to themselves compared to how many times they refer to something else or to somebody else. Yeah. There's a red flag. Yeah, especially, if they refer to themselves, if they use all of the I, the me, myself pronouns overly, it's kind of like a red flag. I suppose if we are in service to others, which is where we are, that's what we do, yeah, service to others, then your focus is with other people. So typically when you talk about other people, right? That's nothing wrong with talking about yourself and using yourself as a reference. But even in my therapies, I have tried to avoid quoting myself, and I use what's called my friend John. Yeah, my friend John. So why? Because people prefer to hear stories about somebody else than hearing about you. Right? Just the way that we are. So. It's just a little measure that I use. I listen to somebody, and especially what stands out to me is when people talk about themselves a lot and justify. It isn't so much it's either a justification or it's a bigging themselves up, but it's like in this false humble way of like bigging themselves up about what they do. And then being very humble about it, but letting you know what they do. Yeah? So I just happened to, on the feed on my video, there was like a little short video. I thought, I'll watch this. And it said, I'm coming out as a light worker. Something like that. Something along those lines. I'm coming out as a light worker. And I thought, that's interesting. Yeah? Let's have a listen. So when I listened to this guy, well, I think it was 6 or 10 minute video. The 10 minutes were about him. He told us about his past, about what he's done, what he learned, where he worked, how he's in, arts and crafts and movies and voiceovers and everything. He's very accomplished. And And he was telling us like how accomplished he was, and how suddenly he's realized his purpose is to be a light worker, whatever that means. And he was saying, because I've been through a very, very, very big journey in my life, and I've learned so many lessons about myself and about what I am, and about what, I'm psychic. And he was just going through this list of things that he was. And then he was saying, and now I realize it's time for me to share my knowledge, to help you all. I need to share my wisdom. And I was thinking, for God's sake, in Spain, if somebody talked like that, they would say, "Tú no tienes abuela, ¿verdad?" Okay, and what that means is, you don't have a grandmother, do you? Because grandmothers, that's their job. Their job is to big people up, yeah? But he was bigging himself up. And what stood out was the false humility. Yes, because I have so much that I need to give, and I know these are very important times where if I share my wisdom, I'm going to be able to help lots of people. So it was kind of like, I want to help people by sharing my wisdom, and by sharing what I know, and about all of my psychic powers and stuff like that. And it just stood out as, yeah, that's the shit that we have to let go of, isn't it? That's the shit that we need to change. Because, I don't doubt that what he'll do will help some people. I'm not saying that. But it's coming from the wrong place. It's coming from a place of me. Me, myself, and I. You remember that song? Me, myself, I. That's where he's coming from. Rather than we, for example. That would be, we. There's a really good story that illustrates what I'm talking about the man that goes to the door of his girlfriend, and he knocks on the door, and she says from the inside, "Who's there?" And he says, "It's me." And she said, "Go away, there's no room for you and me here." So he went away, and he went away for days pondering on what she meant. And then he went back, and he knocked at the door, and she said, "Who is it?" And he said, "It's you." She said, "Come in." Okay. That's kind of where we've got to get to. There is no duality. There is no I, me, myself. Really, it's just us. Yeah. Once we get into that mind frame, then really it changes everything. I'm going to share my wisdom with you is old school, isn't it? That's the old Capricorn, top down. I'm going to give it to you because I'm better than you. We're moving into a different place now. We really are. So, let's get on to the message for mankind, which is what... really, all I said to the emissaries was, they were absolutely calm and wonderful. When I connected with them and I said, "What's going on?" And they said, "Everything is just perfect. Everything is wonderful." And they said, "We are enjoying the calm energies, just as you should." And I said, "Well, so what's going on?" And she said, "Because everything's going exactly the way that it should. The shifts are happening, and the shifts have happened. And so everything's beautiful." So I said, "Well, so what message have you got for mankind?" Just like that, just give me a message for mankind. And they said that now is the time for us to invest ourselves and our time in what resonates with us. And I think they explained what they meant, but let me give you a story of something that happened the other day that really explains that. Somebody in our Telegram group, by the way, if you want to join it, the link's here, but you've got to be a nice person, the link's underneath the video. In our Telegram group, somebody put a video, and we always try to put uplifting, positive stuff in our group. And she said, "I don't normally put negative stuff." It was about the number 5 with the G and other stuff. And she said, "I don't normally put this here, but now it all makes sense." Okay? So that's kind of what the emissaries were talking about. We've done the deep dives. We've done the rabbit hole exploration. what they said is now is the time where we have to start looking macro. We have to start looking, rather than being caught in the details, take a step back and start seeing what this is all about, what the baddies are doing, not just looking at what they're doing, because you could spend your lifetime looking at what they're doing, but they're saying to look at why they're doing it. What is their outcome? What is their purpose? What is the outcome of doing that? What do they intend to achieve? And that's what they were saying, is kind of start looking at a macro and you educate yourself in the areas that resonate with you. Yeah? So they're saying kind of our job is to put the puzzle pieces together. We have a lot of puzzle pieces. Now we need to start creating a picture. And they were saying, look at why everything's happening and understand it's more, what's the intention? What are they aiming to do with this? Why did they want it to happen? And obviously, typically, it's because they want to stop us. They want to keep us in fear. They want to stop us. But it's kind of like looking a little bit beyond, out of the details. That's where, and obviously I know lots of you are already long out of the details, and lots of you have already started to understand the big picture of what this is all about. But you see, it's a step-by-step process. You're in the details, you're in the shit, up to your ankles, up to your neck, in this wading about in this shit, it's awful. You get out of it. And then you start seeing what the big picture is from that point. But each time we take a step back, we get a new perspective until we start seeing the whole plan, the whole game that we've been involved with. And once we get to that place, it's a place of great relief. It's a place of freedom when you realize that you got into this, you got yourself into this mess. You decided, you signed the contract in your spiritual light worker blood, yeah, and then you came here and then you played the game. And so it's kind of like once you're in that place where, hey, you know, we can't even take this seriously at all. I know that's a place that you go in and out of, but as long as you be able to achieve that understanding of this is all part of the big cycle, and therefore we mustn't take ourselves, nor must we take it too seriously. So that's kind of the message for them. They said, just keep taking a step back. Just keep taking a step back. And wherever you are, understand that there's another step back. Yeah? So that's what we've got to keep doing. I've finished just with a little story. And it's kind of, it's linked, but it makes me laugh. So a brand new student goes up to a guru and wants to join the guru's group. And he says to the guru in a very, very proud way, "Guru, I come to you with nothing in my hands." And the guru says, "Well, drop that this instant." And the student says, "Drop what? I've just told you, how can I drop it if it's nothing?" And the guru says, "Okay, then carry it with you if you want then." And I suppose that ties up with this egoic false humility. That lots of people want you to say, "I've got nothing. Look, I've got nothing. I've got nothing. Nothing but my, just me and my wisdom." So, have a beautiful week. Thank you all. I love you all. Bye-bye.